Today we got the Cyelee Cat O. This is a micro red dot. So I've got it on the Shield Plus carry comp. Let's see how it does. Welcome back to Sawtooth Tactical. Today we are reviewing the Cyelee Cat O. I've had a number of pistol optics to review on this channel. I've had a number of pistol optics by this company, Cyelee. They seem to make a lot of different models. And this one is an RMSC footprint optic here, meaning for micro compact pistols such as the Shield Plus, the P365 series of pistols, things like that. Glock 43X, this is made for carry guns. And I definitely found out, I already knew this, but RMSC footprint is not the same as Holosun K footprint. I had a much easier time mounting and zeroing this optic than I did with the 407K or the EPS carry on this gun. So right off the bat, it's already getting points. This video is sponsored by Stopbox. This thing is super durable. It's like a Magpul PMag. Ditch these crappy metal ones. I used to use stuff like this. You can lose the keys. Some of them use thumbprints or buttons, but then you're worried about batteries. This thing is super durable, super easy to use, and all mechanical. The design of the Stopbox is honestly pretty amazing. You put in your code, and it's that easy to get your pistol and be ready to do whatever you need to do. Why I'm wearing sunglasses at night? Well, it's the only protective eyewear I brought, and we're about to be filming some night vision footage as soon as it gets dark enough. But this Cyelee Cat O is doing well so far. Finally testing a pistol optic, not on the dagger. It's a good thing. I've had so many of these on the channel that use the RMR footprint that I was really happy to be able to test an optic with the RMSC footprint and just have another opportunity to go shoot my Shield Plus carry comp. This has been my new daytime carry gun. Daytime because it doesn't have a light rail. I know there are proprietary lights I can get for it, but I like to use like stream lights, like the TLR7 sub there. So that's my nighttime carry, the P365 XL. This optic is already getting points from me for a couple of reasons. For one, the last optic that I reviewed on the channel failed pretty quickly. I had to give you guys an update. And I will do the same with this one if anything happens. But so far, it has definitely held zero. Now, we've only put 100 rounds through it so far. So this isn't a full review at this point. But I went out and I shot it in pretty dark conditions because I was going out to shoot footage for an upcoming night vision video. And so I kind of got to the range pretty late in the day. And I got to say, even in the dark, because as I kept shooting, it got darker and darker. And I know it doesn't look super dark from the camera footage. But for me, it was really dark because the only eye pro I had were my sunglasses. So I'm out there wearing sunglasses in the dark and no light on this pistol. But with the optic, I was still able to shoot reasonably well, I felt like, from the distances I was shooting at. But the other reason that it's getting points, besides just not failing in the first 100 rounds, is RMSC footprint. So I have ran a lot of Holosun optics over the years. I love Holosun optics, specifically their pistol optics. This 407K is actually the first pistol optic that I ever bought. When I got this pistol, I planned to run the Holosun EPS carry on it, and I couldn't zero it on this gun. This gun is cut for RMSC, not Holosun K, and I know they're very similar, but they're not exactly the same. So the EPS carry went on the P365, and I've been using the 407K on here, but even the 407K, I had to max out my elevation in order to get it zeroed. Well, no such issues with the Cyelee Cat O. I put this thing on. I usually like to bore sight my guns before I take them to the range and put a real zero on them. Put the bore sight through this thing and zeroed it to that laser in about 2 seconds. It was no big deal at all. And I've actually been carrying this gun with this optic before I even had a chance to shoot it today. I gotta say, didn't even notice it carrying it. And before we get deeper into this optic, let's have a quick word from our channel partner. This video is sponsored by Aura. How important is privacy to you? Well, to me, it's actually very important, especially the older that I get. You have, a digital signature that follows you. And unfortunately, or fortunately, depending how you look at it, so much of life is online now. And if you don't have something like Aura protecting you, well, then you just have a lot of your own personal information out there. And people that, are not very honest have access to that. There are data brokers on the dark web and just the regular internet that are out there finding your information, and then they're selling it to scammers and to, spam companies that, call you with stuff you don't want to hear about and send you emails. And, I have gotten very sick of getting spam, but the biggest thing is also scammers. They take that information and they get them from data brokers, and they use that information to try to scam you. I've been really surprised before when I've gotten calls from scammers how accurate the information that they had about me was, which, makes it seem like it's something legit when it's not. Well, I've had Aura for 8 months now, and I don't get spam calls anymore, and I haven't gotten calls from scammers in that 8 months. Aura is a really awesome service. You can set it up in a matter of minutes. It's very affordable. It gives you a VPN. It gives you, data broker removal. That's the big one to me. But all kinds of other services that help protect your privacy online, you get all that, and it's only $12 a month. But if you use my link down below, aura.com/sawtoothtactical, you get to try it out for free for 14 days. That's 2 weeks. See if you like it and decide if you want to keep it or not. Check it out, aura.com/sawtoothtactical. Cyelee Cat O. I've actually been carrying this before I even got it out to the range today, just because I wanted to see how comfortable it was. Not bad. I believe in pistol optics. I put optics on all my pistols that I can. Optic, 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 optic. The only one without it is the 1911. It's not cut for an optic. Optic. And I carry with optics. And I know a lot of people think, well, you'll never use one in a self-defense situation because you're just going to be point shooting. It's going to be at a very short distance. While that may be true, I still think that you might as well have every advantage that you can. And an optic to me is definitely an advantage. If you're just going to be point shooting, you're not going to have time to look through your optic. Well, it takes even more time to line up a front and a rear sight. I gotta say, when it comes to red dots, as long as you practice and you train and you present to where that dot falls into your window every time automatically, well, then you might actually end up using that dot if you ever are in a self-defense situation. And it is really easy to know where your shot's gonna go when you see that dot on your target, as long as your trigger pull is decent. So, I love this Smith & Wesson carry comp. It shoots like a bigger gun in my opinion. It's got a 4-inch barrel with a compensator built into it. I carry it with a 13-round magazine, Federal HST, hollow points. But I mean, you can also use 15-round magazines with it. And it has a pretty full-size grip, and honestly, the same barrel length as a Glock 19. It's not a tiny gun, except that it's very thin. And so because of that, it carries really well. It's also lightweight. But on a thin gun, you need a narrow optic as well. You don't want your optic to be way wider than your pistol. And so, like I said, I've been using these K-series, K-footprint optics from Holosun, and they're great. But this Cyelee optic seems to me to be pretty dang good too. Now, we do only have 100 rounds through it, but I've carried it with it, no issues there, and now I've shot 100 rounds through it. Only 100 rounds, so take everything that I say so far with a grain of salt. But this optic has all of the standard features that you want. It comes in Cyeelee's pretty standard pistol optic packaging. Cat O for RMSC footprint. When you open this box up, which is not easy now that there's no weight in it. Let's see if we can do this here. It comes with a patch. That's pretty cool. Velcro, in fact. And then it comes with your standard stuff, instructions, lens cloth, all that. I mean, at this point, do I really need to read the instructions for pistol optic? It's pretty obvious to me. Up is up, down is down, as far as your brightness goes. This does have shake awake. Now, on a carry pistol, that means it's pretty much always going to be awake, except for when it's, in your safe or by your bed at night. But I still think shake awake is a great thing. It does save your battery life when the pistol is not moving. Now, when you're carrying it, obviously it's going to just be on, but on is how you want it to be when you're carrying it. So it comes with your tools, one for zeroing it and one for your optic screws, your mounting screws. And then it comes with literally 100 different kinds of screws. It's very easy to find screws that fit the footprint on the Shield Plus Carry Comp. Mounted it up, it has stayed totally solid. The screws have Loctite already on them, and I was able to bore sight it, and honestly, it has stayed perfectly zeroed. Now again, I've only put 100 rounds through it so far. Tell me, what do you guys think about the actual shape of it, the aesthetic? Because aesthetic does matter. There's, besides all the other reasons, one of the reasons that I bought this pistol is because I think that the slide looks way cooler than the older Shield Pluses. Aesthetics do matter. This is what was on it before, and to be quite honest, I like the Holosun aesthetic. But I also kind of like this. Before I actually got it and put it on the pistol, they sent me an email. I thought it looked like an SRO with the overhang and kind of the rounded window there, until I actually saw the thing and realized it is like a mini SRO. But while we're comparing it to Holosun, who I love Holosun to be quite fair, the window is bigger than a Holosun K series optic. Now, that's for a couple reasons. These optics have the same footprint. They are the same width as far as that goes. So how do they make a bigger window? Well, by having a thinner hood over the window. As you can see, the Holosun here is very thick, which makes the optic very tough, which is a good thing, but it also means that your window is going to be smaller. This one has a bigger window, which is very nice. As far as the notch filter goes, look at it. It's pretty dang clear. The technology for these optics has gotten so good that you get incredible battery life, and you don't have to have so much of that blue tint anymore like you used to. It's a pretty dang clear window. Now, as you move this around, I don't really see a whole lot of chromatic aberration or just bending of light at the edges when I'm moving it around. And using it at the range tonight was super easy. So far, the Cyelee is doing better than the last red dot that I reviewed. Now, like I said, I was shooting this pretty much in the dark, especially with my sunglasses on, because I was going out to shoot a night vision review video for this Rick's Tactical RNV31. That'll be on Friday. Stay tuned for that. But the good thing about being out there so late and wearing sunglasses, because I didn't bring any clear eye pro like an idiot, I got to try this thing out in low light. And, that's a rare thing for me. I've only recently started going out and shooting at night since I got this night vision. Before that, I would always go out in the middle of the day when things are nice and bright and clear, which, it's pretty easy to see your targets when it's nice and bright out. Although you do kind of have to max out your brightness on your optic in that kind of lighting condition. It was good to test an optic in low light conditions. This does have 8 daylight and 2 night vision settings, so 10 brightness settings in all. I kind of ran it somewhere in the middle tonight. I've been carrying it on a little bit brighter of a setting. That's something I've been doing more lately just because I realized that the setting that might look good inside your house is going to be not bright enough if you have to use your pistol out in the bright sunshine. So if you're carrying during the day, you probably want to turn your optic up a little bit higher than you think you do. But I do got to say, it worked great at night. This optic, I mean, what else can I say about a pistol optic? It fits the RMSC footprint, and it does exactly what a pistol optic is supposed to do. And that's what you expect. What you don't expect are the ones that fail. And so we will continue to test this one because I've had a number of Cyelee optics now. Most of them have done fine. One of them didn't hold zero. We're going to see what happens with this one because I want to see, because like I said, I've had one, two, three, I mean, this is my third or fourth, no, at least fourth, maybe fifth optic that Cyelee has sent me. And all of them except for one have been great. I even had a closed emitter pistol optic that had a number of different plates for different footprints. Worked great. But I had one that didn't. And so I do want to test and see how these are, because I do think that a lot of people are looking at Cyelee now. They're kind of following that same path that Holosun did, where initially people thought Holosun was a cheap Chinese optic, and that the only, durable quality thing that you could get for a pistol was a Trijicon RMR or an SRO. Well, Holosun at this point has a pretty dang good reputation. I've got them on a bunch of my pistols, and they work great. In fact, I haven't had any problems with any of my Holosun optics, except for trying to zero them on this carry comp for some reason. Joy shooting the Shield Plus carry comp. This for a carry gun is very shootable. And one thing I got to give the Cyelee, it actually mounted and zeroed easier on this gun than the Holosun 407K or the EPS carry. My point being is that Holosun now has a great reputation, and Cyelee, I think, is going for the same thing. There are a lot of cheap Chinese optics coming out these days. There's a ton of them from brands you've never even heard of. And the last one that I reviewed, well, it didn't hold zero. That was not a Cyelee optic, by the way. But it did not hold zero. And I had to take it off this gun and replace it back with the Holosun again. So I want to see if these Cyelee optics will hold up to the task. So far, I think 4 out of my 5 have. But the reason why is because I think a lot of people are starting to feel like they can trust Cyelee like they could trust Holosun. Cyeelee's making a lot of different models. They've got big window models. They've got RMR footprint models, enclosed emitter, open emitter, carry gun size optics. And so I kind of want to see if they're worth looking into. And so we are going to continue to use this. And just like that last optic that didn't hold zero, I will give you guys an update if something changes. But as of the first range day, as of carrying it for a little while before taking it out and shooting it, which I know, not the smartest thing to do, but you know what? Sometimes with a YouTube channel, you just got to test stuff. And so, I had to test how it would carry because it's a carry optic. So far, so good. So we'll see how it goes. I mean, when I present this, it looks great to me. Big clear window for a carry size optic, and I like that. Shooting it in low light today, not a problem. Carrying it, not a problem. Controls, super easy. One button on each side, up, down. Top loading battery, shake awake, night vision settings, daylight settings. It's got all the features that you look for in a modern pistol optic. It is open emitter, but honestly, so was the optic that was on this gun before I put this one on. The only thing about an open emitter, the one place that I do think it can be an issue is on your carry gun. I've noticed, like with my Holosun here, it does kind of fill up with lint and stuff when I'm carrying it. So we'll see how that goes with this one as well. Like I said, I'll bring you guys updates if I need to. So if you enjoyed this video, please give me a like. Let me know down in the comments, have you used Cyelee Optics and what has your experience been? Because I do see more and more of them online, people posting pictures of them, specifically in the dagger groups. You know, cheaper gun, more affordable optic, I get it. So I want to know what you guys' experience has been. And from Sawtooth Tactical, well, stay strapped or get clapped.